episode 46, 5-1, The Last Jedi predictions.
How does he survive? I mean, like, if we saw it was just an island in water.
There were porgs there.
No, that's just messed up, Dad. Come on.
Hello and welcome to this week's episode of 5-1. 5-1 is all about the countdown from our panel of experts on a different topic each week. Today, we are featuring our bold predictions for The Last Jedi in our style of counting down from
5, 2, 1. This gives me a flashback to the very first episode. I think you used the same song.
I sure did. You were right, Jet. And it was on your recommendation that I used this song. So that is correct. And holy crap, we are almost there. I loved Rogue One last year, but I'm way, way more excited to get back to the episodic saga with Episode 8, The Last Jedi. And how great is it that we get these new movies every year right around Christmas? Pretty awesome, right?
This is not on my list, but I just want to say, I think this movie is going to be sadder than all the others. A lot more sad. Not because of deaths, but like in the trailer, Luke was like, "All I know."
Save your discussion for when we get to our list. We're introing right now. Do you think it's cool that we get these episodes around Christmas? That's what I asked you, not about how sad the movie you think is going to be.
Oh, ask the question again.
Isn't it cool that we get these new movies every year right around Christmas?
Yeah, tubular.
Okay. It's been such a gift for us, and we are now 2 years removed from The Force Awakens. So we've had all sorts of time to speculate about all the questions that left us hanging from Episode 7. How excited are you guys about The Last Jedi?
Super
Very
excited.
It's really hard. To be honest, don't get me wrong, I'm really excited, but I might have been a little bit more excited for The Force Awakens.
Well, that was my next question. Does it compare to how excited you were for The Force Awakens?
But The Force Awakens was the first ever Star Wars movie I saw in the theaters. Like, the first time it actually came out. That was like, that was the best day of my life.
Yeah, it was a big deal. I will admit that the hype for The Force Awakens for me was more exciting also. And it had a lot to do with just the trailer because of the Chewie, we're home. That was, it was awesome. This one, I'm not as excited in that regard, but I will say this: when I made my list today, man, it got me really excited thinking about all the questions I have and all the things I expect out of this movie. So I'm right there. I'm very excited. I can't wait for this to come out.
Yeah, I remember when I first heard about the Empire Strikes Back coming out in theaters, and I was really wanting to see it.
Back before I was born?
Yeah.
I wonder how this experience will be for us compared to The Force Awakens. I mean, we went opening day, and we're going opening day again, and it was awesome. I just don't know how it's going to compare, like, to those moments that we had, like when you see the Falcon for the first time, and the theater went crazy, and
the ending.
And the ending. It was awesome.
I remember when we first saw it, like, a day early before the actual release date. Like, right when, like, the Star Wars thing showed up, everyone was, like, so excited, and then next day everyone's like...
Well, that's because a lot of the people were going back to see it for the second time the next day. It was crazy because everybody was going to see it 2, 3, 4 times those first couple of days. And
I'm going to watch it like 5 times in a row.
Well, we can speculate a lot about how the experience is going to be, but first, let's speculate about our predictions. But before we get to our list, let's introduce our panel of Star Wars Jedi Master level experts. I'm Chris, and I'm joined by my 2 Padawan sons.
Cave Moore.
My 13-year-old.
Jet. Also, Qui-Gon Jet. You could do either one.
My 10-year-old, and we are
5, 2, 1. I'm always on time with that.
Yeah, Kate's usually not. Glenn Solomon, fun fact of the week.
Pew, pew, pew,
just pretend like that was at full volume the whole time. I had a few fun facts about The Force Awakens. I want to get through these quickly because I have a lot to say, and this is going to be a really long episode.
Yeah, I want to have the...
So just a few things. Maz Kanata actually had a fight scene that was cut out of the movie where she used the Force to dispatch some troopers.
What? Why was that cut out?
I don't know. Poe was supposed to die in several versions of the script. One was he crashed his TIE fighter. When him and Finn crash on Jakku, he was supposed to die there. Another had him being shot by a trooper like early in the movie. But he survived. And the last one was when Han and Chewbacca entered the Falcon.
Chewie, we're home.
Audiences around the world were captivated. Apparently, this was the same thing on the set. According to Kathleen Kennedy, she's the president of Lucasfilm, about 200 people stopped what they were doing on set just to watch in silence. How amazing was it when that scene played in the trailer, right?
That's so awesome.
And then again in the movie. And I remember watching it as soon as it debuted in the trailer, which happened the same time that they were having Celebration, Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. And here's a clip of when it dropped at Celebration. This was when they played the trailer for the first time.
Jeez, it's so loud.
And I actually stopped it there. The applause goes on and on and on. So there was a lot of hype for that movie.
I would have been cheering so loud, screaming.
It's time for Jet's Pun of the Week.
So you've already told me that you made your list on the wrong topic at first. It was on holiday foods. So you made your pun about holiday foods, and then you had to go revise your 5-to-1 list to Star Wars. So let's hear your holiday foods topically related pun.
I think it's good. You guys might hate it, but my personal opinion is good. So, what did the normal Christmas tree say to the Christmas tree with ornaments when you walked into the room?
I don't know.
You have a lot of balls coming in here dressed like that.
Good job, Jet.
Yay!
All right. Let's do some
Feedback.
All right, so several listeners mentioned that they liked the Pokemon theme song that we used last episode. So to all the listeners, if you want it, search for Pokemon Theme Remix on YouTube and look for the video by Trap Nation. That's where I found it.
Oh, Trap Nation? That's really popular.
Yeah, so it was like the second or third one on the list. Casey King said he only saw one episode of Bob's Burgers, but that he thought it was funny.
It's really bad.
Okay, we said it sucked.
Terrible.
Evan Whirl sent an auto-corrected text that said, "Great call with the mullet babies," instead of Muppet babies, which prompted Nick Green, our funniest listener, to send a picture of a baby with a mullet.
Nick is the funniest.
Yeah, and lastly, Sonia Barber called me out for not remembering A Christmas Carol when we were talking about the Muppets movie. She said it's the most famous Christmas story ever, maybe after Jesus' birth, and she's right, and I deserve a facepalm for blanking on the name. But you guys were no help, so you're partially to blame too.
You're 37?
Shush. So, onto the list. Did you guys have a hard time with your list? Cade, you didn't make one. Jet, you made yours last minute, so I'm not going to ask you that question.
It was kind of hard.
Oh, I did. Here's the deal. It's okay that you don't have a list, Cade, because I wanted you guys to come up with a normal list, but we are modifying the format this week. And instead of taking turns with each item on our list, I'm going to count us down using my list as a base, and we can all discuss each item, including where related items might fall on your list, so we don't have redundancies in the discussion. So, for example, if I have a Han Solo comes back to life and takes over for Snoke as my number 4, we can all talk about Han Solo stuff at one time instead of jumping back and forth when he's my number 4 and you're number 2, etc. And if you have one that I didn't name, and when we get to the end, we'll run through those at that point. Deal?
Yeah, dealio.
And Cade, you can just chime in with whatever you're thinking about each subject, okay?
You don't really need a list. I mean, you could, but you don't really need it.
Okay, so here's my...
Number 5.
Leia lives. I think she survives this movie. Let's start out with a big ticket item. My prediction is that Leia survives The Last Jedi and ends up dying in Episode 9 instead. And here's what we know. We all know that Carrie Fisher tragically passed away last December, and it's hard to believe it's almost been a year already.
It feels like 6 months ago.
Yeah, it was last December 27th of last year. But because of that, it would make sense that Princess Leia would also die in the movies. But based on some statements from Kathleen Kennedy, president of Lucasfilm, I don't know if that's the case. Here's the evidence. Leia was supposed to have a huge role in Episode 9. And that indicates that The Last Jedi is Luke's big movie, since The Force Awakens was Han's. So 7 was Han's, 8 is Luke's, 9 was supposed to be Leia's. And Kathleen Kennedy said that they're going to have to change directions in Episode 9 now that Carrie Fisher's no longer here. She also confirmed that filming had already been completed on The Last Jedi before Carrie's death. So, and that they are not changing the film as a result of her passing. So that means if Episode 9 was supposed to be her movie and they're not changing what happens in episode 8, she has to survive into episode 9, right? Her character.
Yeah, but
Well, she also confirmed that they're not going to recast the role of Leia, and they are not going to create a CGI model like we saw with young Leia and Tarkin in Rogue One. So that leaves a very big question: is how will they handle the lack of Carrie Fisher's presence regarding the role of Leia for Episode 9?
I know.
So my prediction is that she will be killed in Episode 9 using some unused film footage from Episode 8 and some clever camera tricks. That's my guess, is that they take some shots that they're not using in the film in 8, put them in 9, make a conversation out of it using clever movie-making tricks, and then have her die like in a ship that gets blown up or something. I don't know. But that's my guess.
it's gonna be it's not. You can't continue Leia without Carrie Fisher.
It looked like she was gonna die in the trailer.
That was my next point. We should point out that in the trailer we see Leia and she's in a ship that looks like it's in a battle with Kylo Ren's ship, and it kind of goes back and forth between their faces, and it implies that Kylo is considering blowing up that ship and killing his mom, basically. But it doesn't show what happens, and it could be misdirection. Trailers do that a lot, where they make you think it's one thing when it's not. I don't know. My guess is that she survives, but I don't know. What do you guys think?
I think she survives.
I think she's gonna survive, but I think she's gonna die eventually. They just can't keep up Leia without Carrie Fisher. It's just impossible.
Yeah, and they did say they're not recasting it. That means they're not going to pick another actress to fill in for her.
Yeah, but if Carrie Fisher still was alive, then I think they'd probably make her live till the saga's over.
Maybe. I don't know. I've always kind of felt that the big three meaning Han, Leia, and Luke, would all die in this trilogy. One per movie, basically.
Really?
Or maybe all at the end. Well, we know Han is gone. I thought maybe this movie Luke would go, and then Leia might go next movie. I don't know.
If Luke died, I'd be bawling.
I don't think Luke's going to die this movie. I don't.
I don't think he's gonna ever die.
Ever?
Oh, not ever.
All right. Well, any other thoughts on Leia? Do you have anything else to say about Leia before we move on? Jet, did you have any items on your list regarding Leia?
No, I didn't.
Well, I had one more thing about the Leia, and kind of. It's I feel like Han, although he's not in this movie, his presence is going to be felt by a lot of the characters. It's going to weigh on them heavily and have a lot of impact on the decisions that are made. And
yeah,
things
like
that they
traumatized, kind of.
So
a little bit.
Kind of like how Luke wasn't in the first movie, but you felt his presence the whole time. They were looking for him. It's a mystery where he was. Rey was all like dreamy-eyed when they talked about Luke. She's like, he's real? You know what I mean? I feel like Han is going to have that role in this movie, even though his character is not in the movie.
Yeah.
Okay, well,
I agree.
Anything else to say about Leia before we move on?
I'm good.
Okay.
Number 4.
Number 4 is all about Luke Skywalker. And
Just anything about him?
Yeah, whatever you had on your list. And I'll get us started. My first thing was about Luke's lightsaber. We see in The Force Awakens that Rey is given the lightsaber from Maz Kanata, right? And we don't know how...
think she's still alive, Maz Kanata?
I do think she's still alive. And
I hope she is.
I do too. And I don't know how she came into possession of the saber. I do know that there was a long story about that was cut from the movie.
I don't... About Maz Kanata, I have Maz Kanata...
Save it because I have her later in the list, and we'll come back to that. Okay. So remember. But I do know there was a scene that was cut from the movie that explained how she got the saber, and I hope we still get to learn that. But when Rey touches the saber, she has some sort of force vision that gives us lots of clues about things that might happen in the rest of the trilogy, right? And Rey takes that saber to Luke at the end of The Force Awakens, and we've seen in the trailers that Luke's robotic hand reaches out and takes the saber away from Rey. So what happens next with Luke's saber? My prediction is that
he kills Rey.
He kills Rey?
Yeah.
I don't think so. My prediction is that he ends up giving it to Rey.
That's why I think, because in the trailer when they're training, she has that blue lightsaber.
She does have the blue lightsaber in the trailer, and I actually watched it again today, and I looked at the hilt, and I couldn't quite verify that it's the same one, but I think it is. It happens so fast. So we also remember that this saber was originally Anakin's, and it was gifted to Luke from Obi-Wan.
Oh yeah! Oh my gosh, that's so sad in Revenge of the Sith. To this day, I still think it's really sad when he's burning and stuff, and takes the lightsaber.
You were like a brother to me. And then Anakin says, "I hate you, and please take this saber and give it to Luke."
Man,
To my unborn child.
annoying. Why does everyone have to lose their hand in Star Wars? Vader lost his hand and his arms. Luke lost his hand. Mace Windu lost his hand.
Dooku,
Lost both hands.
the guy at the bar
The
at
cantina.
Ponda Baba,
He lost his arm.
the Wampa,
Wampa. That's 6 characters that lost their arms
Maul.
slash hands. He's half the man he used to be.
That's right. That's the pun you should have used for this one.
It's too common. Everyone knows that.
Yeah. Well, I also have another prediction regarding Luke's lightsaber, and that is that we will see the return of Luke's green lightsaber from Return of the Jedi.
It's gonna be. But I've always thought. Remember? Let's go back to Return of the Jedi when he fights Vader.
Yeah, I'm glad you're bringing this up because I had it in my notes.
When he fights Vader and he throws his lightsaber,
Yeah.
does he ever pick it up?
So that's a very good question. In the final scenes of Return of the Jedi, he's talking to Anakin / Vader without his helmet, and he drags Vader / Anakin onto the ship, and then the next thing we see, the Death Star blows up, and Luke gets away with Vader. And it implies that he did not ever get his saber back because he threw it down and he never picked it back up. However, in the party celebration scene on Endor, you can briefly see his lightsaber clipped to his belt.
Oh, you can?
Yes, so he must have gone back and gotten it at some point, and
Maybe just use the Force. Be like,
I mean, that's a lightsaber. You can't just like get rid of that. I
Yeah.
mean, especially like.
this lightsaber is your life.
I mean,
this lightsaber is your life.
Man, you could
Attack of
use
the Clones.
you could use a lot of Star Wars quotes in a Star Wars podcast.
You really can.
But he'll need a saber if he's going to train with Rey and spar with her, or if he fights anybody at some point, he'll need it. And I think if that happens, when it ignites, the theater will go nuts. That's my opinion.
It's gonna be awesome. Also, you even told us this is like our first movie in the theater where the people actually make noise and cheer.
Yeah, when you go to a Star Wars movie on opening night, the energy is just very, very, like, you can feel it. It's palpable. And when things happen and the crowd cheers, it really makes the whole experience, like, even more exciting, I think.
I hope back to the lightsaber thing. I hope they, like, you know, when Kylo Ren's lightsaber turned on, that was, like, a big moment, like, in the trailer, when people first saw it, like, whoa, that's a cool lightsaber, or
Right.
whatever. I hope they bring, like, other ideas of lightsabers into Star Wars.
I read something about that saber recently that the reason it kind of, like, sparks and crackles a little bit is because his kyber crystal inside is cracked. So the energy is, like, not stable.
I mean, in the games and stuff like that, lightsabers that do that, like you know,
It's
you
in
know,
Rebels.
Yeah.
It's like untamed, I guess you could say.
Right.
You know, they call it like they call it unstable.
Unstable,
yeah.
Well, that fits. Okay, I have more stuff about Luke, but let's get to you guys. What, Jet, you said you had a Luke item on your list?
No, I never said that.
Oh, you don't have anything about Luke on your list?
No, I have other things.
Well, I'll go to my next one then.
You know, that makes me want to kind of, like, if I was a Jedi or a Sith, I would crack my kyber crystal.
Just so
I
it
think
was
you could get that.
unstable.
I think the
So you can get
coolest
the effect.
lightsaber, honestly, is just a normal lightsaber itself.
Which character's lightsaber do you like the most out of all the Star Wars?
The most unique is definitely Count Dooku's.
Oh, because of the curved hilt?
Yeah, and
Ventress
the
has them.
lightsaber
Ventress has it too, but
the lightsaber kind
she's
of
not in the
curves.
movies.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
I don't know, that's a hard one.
My
I
favorite-
like Mace Windu's hilt a lot.
My
Yeah, I was
favorite
gonna
has
say.
always been Luke's green one from Return of the Jedi. I don't know why. It's not anything advanced, but I've just always liked the way it looked.
My favorite hilt, not the one that looks coolest, is definitely Anakin's though, because that lightsaber has gone through so much.
Yeah.
Been in Mustafar to Bespin to now.
Somehow it ended up
Yeah.
with Maz, yeah. Another Luke prediction. I am predicting that he does not reunite with Leia in this movie.
I disagree. I think.
Do you think they're going to do the thing
where?
where it leads it on, like they're going to finally see each other and then boom?
Yeah, I think it's a bold move if they don't, because there was one very loud fan complaint from The Force Awakens that the big three never reunited before Han's death. And now Carrie has passed, so if Luke doesn't reunite with Leia in this movie, they won't, right? And for some reason, I just don't think it's going to happen.
Well, at least Chewie.
And if at least Chewie, because he's on Ahch-To, the planet that Luke's on. And if they do reunite, I think it'll be at the very end of the movie. I don't think we're going to see like a mid-movie reunion and they team up and fight together. I think it's going to be like they meet because they have to. I think Luke is very reluctant to get back into the mix. I'm not even entirely sure that Luke leaves Ahch-To at all in this movie. Except maybe if he has to come save Rey from Snoke, and we do see her being tortured by Snoke in one of the trailers. But I'll get to that more on my number one.
I kind of agree, because as you see in the trailer, it seems like he just doesn't want to leave the planet. It seems like he thinks he's fallen out of place. But I think if Rey gets in trouble by Snoke, then he will finally come back.
Well, we know that he's exiled himself, right? And Han says in The Force Awakens that those who know him best think he went off to find the original Jedi Temple, right? We know that. And we know that his academy, the students he was training, his Jedi training school or whatever, was blown up. We see it in ashes. We see his hand crawling out of the flames and the wreckage. We know that it's probably Kylo Ren that did it, or the Knights of Ren, or maybe Snoke in some way through Kylo Ren. And that, that is probably what caused him to go into exile. We don't know all the details, but I think that he feels as long as the Jedi exist and that there are Jedi in the galaxy, there will be a dark side to oppose them. And that the best thing to do for the galaxy is just to end the Jedi altogether. I think that's why he says the Jedi must end in the trailer. I don't know for sure, but that's what my prediction is. And I think that explains, I mean, that's another prediction. What is the status of Luke Skywalker, where he is with the Force and with the Jedi? So is he still light side? Does he go dark side? Is he somewhere in between? Maybe another interpretation for the Force altogether. He definitely doesn't go
dark side, I feel like.
Yeah, I doubt he does.
I think he's like his own, maybe. I mean, like, if you think like the most powerful, like, Force people, they make their own, like, not light side or dark side. They're their own.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
I mean, you had Valkorion from...
Well, now you're going... This isn't canon. So if you're going into expanded universe, you can't use that as a base.
It's just in general that, like, really powerful people, they, like, do their own. Unless they, like, they're loyal.
I think he is on his own side, but not, you could say the same for Mandalorians or bounty hunters, but, like, he's on his own side. He doesn't want to harm anything. He just wants to be alone. The difference
between him and the Mandalorian and a bounty hunter who are out for themselves is he's doing what he believes is the right thing for the galaxy. That's my opinion. He's making a choice that he believes is the best choice for everybody by exiling himself. And we don't know who put. Well, I don't want to get to that yet. We'll save it.
Oh yeah, because I agree with you, because like if somehow the First Order figured out that Luke is with like Leia and them, that would put them in big danger, because they want to find Luke Skywalker bad.
Yeah.
That'd put him in, he's putting all of them in danger, so maybe that's why he's resisting.
And just his presence, just the presence of the Jedi, it invites the opposite force, right? Then you want to have somebody who has the same ability or some ability to manipulate the Force to oppose them. And that is when the dark side users and the Sith and whoever you want to call it are on the opposite side. Bad things happen to good people, right? So that's why he's exiled. That's my prediction. I also think that he's going to resist training Rey, and his attitude towards her.
Will kind of be like Yoda's to Luke. Well,
yeah, but even more so, I think. And I think he's going to make some discovery about Rey's power and her lineage while she's there, and that's going to, like, frighten him from training her.
How does he survive? I mean, like, if we saw it was just an island in water.
There were porgs there.
No, that's just messed up, Dad. Come on, stop it.
There's wildlife and vegetation. I mean, he can survive. Maybe he orders Amazon.
He's a freaking Jedi.
Amazon groceries. But I think he's going to refuse to train her, or refuse to accept her in some fashion, and that's going to be part of the reason why she leaves the planet and ends up in Snoke's custody.
I think Snoke is definitely going to show in person, for sure.
Yeah, we see it in the trailer.
Oh, yeah, we do. And
he is ugly.
Funko Pop.
Yeah.
He looks a lot better.
Now, I would like to say that you do see Luke in the Falcon in the trailer. He puts his hand on the wall and like powers on. It was in one of the TV shorts that they released recently. So that's an indication that maybe he's in the Falcon and leaves, or maybe he's just in there saying hi to Chewie. I don't know.
Hey, Chewie.
Anything else about Luke?
That's my Chewie impression.
Jed, I can't believe you didn't have anything about Luke on your list. That's strange to me.
I thought okay.
All right, well, let's move on to
number 3.
My number 3 is about the smaller characters' roles that are going to be expanded or have their lineage revealed. So we'll start out. I have, who is Snoke? Do you have anything about Snoke on your list?
Plagueis.
You think he's Plagueis?
I think he's Plagueis.
So,
Plagueis is the biggest answer. I mean, you got people are saying Mace Windu and Jar Jar Binks was a thing going on for a while.
I know there have been 40 million theories on who Snoke is.
I have a really good reason for Plagueis though, because he never shows up in the movies, but they talk about him in Revenge of the Sith.
Yeah, let's explain this to our listeners who aren't as familiar with Star Wars. In Revenge of the Sith, Palpatine is having a talk with Anakin.
Father figure of Anakin.
In that opera play thing that they're at, and he says, have you ever heard the tale of Darth Plagueis the Wise? And Anakin says no, and he says, oh, that's not something the Jedi would teach. And he goes on to tell about how Plagueis trained another Sith Lord, and that Sith Lord, who is himself that he's talking about, but he hasn't revealed it yet, killed Plagueis in his sleep. But Plagueis is the one who had developed the way to create life from the Force,
and
basically. And that's
it's
who
been
Anakin
a big
is.
theory. Yeah, wait, is that how Anakin was born?
Yeah.
Wow.
You know what I wanted to happen
That's
too?
deep.
Is that wasn't I don't know where it was, but they made Bane was canon, Darth Bane, right?
Yeah,
Clone
he
Wars.
was canonized in the Clone Wars, yes, but
Yeah.
that doesn't mean his whole story that was in the book or whatever
I know,
is
just
canon.
his character, and that's cool
Yeah.
to me.
That's still
I
enough
want,
for me.
they should
Awesome.
make another EU character, like a popular one,
like
Like
Revan.
Revan.
like Revan. Yeah,
He was supposed to also become canonized in the Clone Wars before it got canceled.
you know,
Why?
it should be like secret too, like they're in there's like a room of like ancient stuff or whatever, and you see like his mask or something like that. 'Cause
That
he's
would
got
be
the
awesome.
coolest mask.
That would be cool. But I have heard the Jar Jar ones. I've heard the Mace Windu ones. Even the little young Jedi that Anakin slaughters, which I think I have that clip in here somewhere.
Master Skywalker, there are too many of them. What are we going to do?
What are we going to do?
It's so messed up.
I tell you though, that the way the kid reacts to the saber turning on, he like jumps and he's scared. You know what I'm talking about? Was very effective because it really brought home like, wow, he's about to kill these kids, right?
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, he is Vader at that point.
Imagine becoming a spirit, like, he comes a spirit, and he's like, well, I turned good, everything's back to normal, I'm gonna see all my spirit friends. And he says, hi, and he sees like 30 younglings just staring at him.
Like, thanks a lot, man.
I know.
That kid though, I mean, obviously he's not Snoke, but his face kind of looks like Snoke. So I thought that one was a funny one when I saw that one online. My prediction, Snoke is Snoke. I don't think he's anybody else.
Really?
Yeah, I think he's just himself. I when I first saw The Force Awakens, I thought he was Plagueis. The more I think about it, the less I think that's the case. But I could be wrong. But it's not that important to me who Snoke turns out to be. He could be his own guy, and I'm fine with that. All right, next, Maz Kanata. We talked about her a little bit before, how she gave Rey Luke's old saber in the scene that was deleted. She was supposed to have Force powers. I told you as the fun fact of the week, she had a scene deleted where she defeated troopers using the Force. I hope she doesn't get left behind in this story because she's very interesting to me, and I think that we'll find out. This is my prediction about her, that she has some sort of ties to Yoda.
I saw a post online where it was like,
Really?
This is like how the actual storyline is. I have found leaked news, and it was like, like a family chart of like ancestors and whatever.
Pause for 1 second. Is this a spoiler in any way?
No.
Okay, because we're not
It's
doing
a
any.
meme.
Oh, okay. I'm just making sure because you said something about leaked. I just want to make
Yeah,
sure.
it was fake because the guy said, I got this leaked news.
This
or
is
whatever."
all speculation, no spoilers. But go ahead.
Yeah, so it started off the top, okay, and it showed like real people, like Anakin and Padme. All right, I was like, okay, and then it said down there it was Luke, and then it said Luke and like R2D2 they had Snoke, and Snoke and a Jawa had Obi-Wan, and Obi-Wan and Rey gave birth to Rey, who gave birth to Mace Windu, and it had this big link of like people going down, and in the end, what's it called? It said like so it said Snoke, and then it equals, and then it said a gonk droid, and it showed a picture of a gonk droid. So
Yeah, that's about how much sense all of the Snoke theories make to me, basically. But yeah, I think she's got ties to Yoda. Jet, you wanted to say something about Maz Kanata earlier.
I was gonna say, you already said it, I think she's gonna tell the story.
Of
And of
the saber?
The saber, how she got it, because she said Han.
That's
that
a story
will be for next time.
for another time.
Yeah, for another time.
do you think there's going to be even more new aliens?
Probably. I'm sure we'll get some new ones.
There's so many new ones.
People like new ones. People like the old ones too. I'm sure we'll see some new ones. Yeah.
I want to see some old ones too.
Yeah.
I want to see like Twi'leks and
Hammerheads.
Yeah, I like Hammerheads. Another new character, or another character that's smaller, but this one is a new one. We currently know his name is DJ, and he's being played by Benicio del Toro, he's a famous actor. And just because of the imagery I've seen and what I know about the actor, my prediction is that Benicio del Toro's character DJ is going to be some type of thief or smuggler, maybe even a hacker. And he probably ends up helping the resistance, but also betraying some of our characters. So to me, he is the new Lando Calrissian. That's my guess.
Can't wait to see Lando in the new movie, though.
Yeah.
Childish Gambino.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't think Lando's going to be in The Last Jedi, which would have been cool for him to make an appearance too.
Yeah, what? They only showed him once.
What?
Well, not once, but in one movie.
No, he's in 2 movies.
Wait, 2, yeah. But besides that, we never saw him in
He's in the
Force
Clone
Awakens.
Wars.
He is?
Yeah, in several
What happened
episodes.
in 9
Rebels. I'm sorry, not the Clone Wars. Rebels. He's in
He's
Rebels.
in the Rebels?
Yes, in several episodes.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Where's 9? No.
He's in Rebels too.
Oh my gosh.
Um,
Can I tell you a story?
Is it long?
No.
Okay, go ahead.
So, it's really... In Battlefront, it's a good game and all. And you can play as Neo Nub. But they never gave you, like, Obi-Wan, Ben or anyone like that. And a lot of people had hate. Because they're like... Because you first see Neo Nub and they're like, oh yeah, I want to play as that guy. And it's just a lot of hate.
Did you know there's another pilot that looks just like him who's named Ten Num?
I don't like Neo Nub or any of them.
Why? I like them.
I like him.
I like his laugh. I like his laugh. Like when they blow.
Yeah.
I like Lando though.
Battlefront 2 Star Wars got a lot of hate.
I know.
It's
I've
big
heard
pay
about
to
it.
win. It's like Darth Vader, most OP character in the game. It's like play this many ridiculous amount of hours, or just buy it.
Yeah, that's how video games are. All right, Poe's involvement. Poe was supposed to die a couple times, but they kept him around. Does he serve a larger purpose than just being the best pilot?
I think he will do
He's
something.
the second best pilot, man. He's
Behind who?
one heck of a pilot.
Anakin.
Yeah,
Dead.
Anakin.
So who's he behind?
Well, he's the best right now, but
Okay.
of all time, it's definitely Anakin.
Han, also dead. Luke, not flying ships. So I think Poe's the best.
Dude, Poe's better than Luke and Han.
I
Even
know.
when they were in the prime. But
I don't know. Luke used to bomb. What do you?
I know. What about?
No, what did he say? He used
no,
to.
that is pod racing.
Oh, I got the quote wrong. Never mind.
But
Oh, he used to bullseye womp rats from his T-16 back at home in Beggars Canyon. They're not much bigger than 2 meters.
He okay, I
That's
will admit,
a direct
Luke
line from the movie.
Luke did blow up a Death Star, but only with Han's help,
Yeah.
unless he would be toast.
Well,
Nine
does
Numb
Poe
helped
get a
blow up
bigger?
the Death Star.
You're not answering my question though. Does Poe get a bigger role in this movie, or is he still just a hotshot pilot?
I think he'd still be a hotshot pilot, but maybe
Is
have
that
like
enough?
What do you mean? Is it going to be more than
Yeah,
Last
because
Jedi?
think back to the original trilogy. You've got your big three: Han, Luke, and
Nine
Leia.
Numb.
And Leia. In this trilogy, the big three were supposed to be Rey, Finn, and Poe. Poe is way behind. They barely showed him. He doesn't
Rey.
have much of a role besides being a hotshot pilot. He was supposed to die. I'm asking, is his role going to expand, or is he still a hotshot
He's going to
pilot?
expand. See, this is what's going to happen. It's kind of like, so in episode 8, well, in episode 7, you know, there's Finn. Finn, he's not as big as Rey, but he's a little close. He's really big in that movie.
Yeah. What about Poe? What's happening to Poe?
Yes.
Poe. Okay, he's gonna be struggling in the movie, and then he's gonna do something cool, and then he'll actually serve a big purpose in the very end. But I think he won't have much purpose. for the rest
Listen
of
to
it.
me.
We'll get to your point then. You keep
Well,
talking
you
about
weren't
Finn.
talking to your Poe.
Shh. Get to your point about Poe.
Finn was in the movie a lot, but now I think it's gonna, since he got hurt from Kylo Ren, he's like in that coma. He's gonna be in that tank from the trailer, and Poe is gonna take over.
Okay. My prediction is that we're going to see Poe take on some sort of leadership role within the Resistance, like a Leia type role at some point. And that's how he's going to become more important. Because right now he's just a pilot and that's it. They need to find ways to keep him involved, to keep him interesting if he's going to be one of the big three. All right, my last kind of minor character, and I hate even calling this guy a minor character because he's my all-time fave, but R2-D2. We know that he goes to Octu with Rey to see Luke, and we see him in the flashback scenes with the destruction of Luke's academy, but does his role expand? Or is he still just kind of a background character like he was in The Force Awakens?
The only thing I'm wishing is that he doesn't explode.
That would be my worst. I do think we'll get some more R2, and maybe it's
he has gotten shot before and survived.
I mean,
so
I
they
love
can just fix him.
He was in the garbage in Star Trek.
I love BB-8, but R2 is my homie, and I think he'll play an important role in some way.
R2 is better than BB,
Yeah.
for sure.
Yeah, but
Who would win in a fight? R2.
R2.
R2 would
Uses
slap the
rocket
ground of
boots.
oil on the
R2 is the true
I
hero
don't
of
fight.
Star Wars. There's no way he's getting taken out.
He
by
destroyed
some
all
other
those
droid.
super what's it called battle droids
Yes, he did.
with fire.
All right. Any other smaller characters that we want to talk about? Jet, do you have any on your list? That
Captain Phasma.
Let's save that one because I have that for the next one.
Okay.
Do you think C-3PO goes all red?
That's
No.
a good question. Does he get his gold arm back, or does he stay with a red
Why
arm?
does he get that red arm?
He probably got
was-
destroyed.
It was explained in a comic somewhere, but I didn't read it, so I'm not sure.
Does that count as that comic?
As canon, yeah, because they drew a line in the sand. They said anything we release after this date is canon. Anything prior, except for the movies and the TV shows, is legends, not canon. So it is considered canon. All right. So, any other small characters, Jet?
Well, Chewbacca.
What about
He's
him?
not small.
He's not one of the big characters.
I mean,
in
he's
the new
like
movies.
6'7".
He's taller
not
than
small.
that.
Oh, yeah, he's like.
What do you want to say about Chewbacca? What do you think happens? That's a good question because Han's gone. So
It's gonna be weird.
He's
seeing
He's not going to be
Chewie
happy
without
for
him.
the rest of the movie.
does he co-pilot the Millennium Falcon still?
Yeah.
Yes, he was.
And-
He was still happy in the Force Awakens. He just still feels him.
So who pilots the Millennium Falcon? Is it Rey? Rey seems to have a connection with the ship.
I think Rey will be a good pilot.
Ray's definitely.
I mean,
piloting.
she flew off the what's it called TIE fighter.
So do you think the Falcon survives?
I
Yes.
think it will. Yeah.
Okay. And is
sure.
it just like Rey's ship now with Chewie as the co-pilot? Does
Yeah.
he stick around even though Han's gone?
Yeah. It's
Okay, junk it is.
The people that are gonna be running the ship, it's gonna be Rey and Chewie, and I feel like Chewie is gonna be sad for a long time because
Yeah.
of Han.
I don't.
But then he might cheer up a little bit if Luke goes back in the ship.
And maybe
I don't.
R2 stays on the Falcon with them, and BB-8 stays like as an astromech in the X-wings for Poe.
No, it'd be cool. Instead of like flying, killing stuff in the background, you see like what's it called, Firefly,
Firefly ship.
yeah.
All right, let's move on to
Number 2.
Finn and Phasma have some sort of subplot that makes them more relevant. And,
They're
and
gonna fight.
what I mean by that is we see in the trailer that Finn and Phasma have some sort of epic battle, right? So there's that. But I'm thinking that I think that they get some sort of subplot in this movie, similar to what we saw with Dustin and Lucas in season 2 of Stranger Things, right? They're sort of outside characters and they're cool, but they need something of their own to stay relevant in Star Wars. So I think that they're going to have an ongoing conflict between them that drives another storyline that keeps them relevant to the story.
Yeah, I think. I think she's
I
going to
think
be
that
more.
Captain
in
Phasma is
episode
gonna
8.
reveal her. I want to see what she looks like under her mask because she's not like small. Like
No,
a
it's
small.
Brienne of
I know
Tarth
what she
from
looks
Game
like.
of Thrones. Like
She's
she's gigantic.
I've seen
Yeah,
the
and she's
actor.
strong, and
I know what she looks like.
I want to see her do some killing.
Well, let's start with Finn. We see that Finn is friend. Oh no, we don't see this. I see Finn being friend zoned by Rey, so that love story goes away. So how does he stay relevant? I think he infiltrates the First Order, either disguised as a trooper or he maybe tries to re-enlist, like as a double agent undercover. And we know that he was sort of selfish in The Force Awakens. He left the First Order for good reasons, for moral reasons, but then he wanted to be on his own, and he only ended up helping out because of Rey. Well, does that interest go away if Rey doesn't have romantic feelings for him? If that's the case, what keeps Finn involved? Maybe it's his new friendship with Rey and Poe. He seemed to be pretty tight with Poe. I don't know.
He's definitely not. Ray and Finn are probably gonna fall in love.
I don't think so.
Yes,
I think
are.
she friend zones him. I think there's a more likely candidate that Rey falls in love with.
Luke.
Kylo Ren.
Oh,
I don't.
that would be cool though. That would really be interesting.
But let's get back to that. Let's talk about Finn. So you think Finn and Rey are going to end up together?
Yes, because
He was flirting with her, but she didn't show any interest back, and they were like tight friends at the end. She's like,
she did show a little interest back.
I didn't.
It's like
pick up on that.
instead of like the holding hands like this, it was more like this. Like instead of grabbing hands, they grab wrists.
It's like when she says, "Oh, you're such a good friend," and you got friend zoned. That's my guess.
No,
or it's like,
it's so
hey, you want to go out
obvious.
sometime? It's like, hey, you want to go out sometime? And she's like, oh yeah, who else is coming? Or
Yeah, exactly.
He went back just for Rey, not because of the resistance, for Rey.
I know. So what happens when she's not interested in him romantically?
She is. That's my point.
What evidence is there that she has interest in him romantically? We know that he's interested.
They've just
You have a boyfriend, a cute boyfriend. He asks her that, and he goes back for her. We know that, but we don't know that she has any interest in him.
it was a friendly kiss.
Yeah, it was like a peck on the forehead or cheek or something.
That's crap.
Alright.
She's not going to fall in love with Kylo. Where's your evidence that she falls in love with Kylo Ren? I have some evidence. Maybe because she literally saw Han Solo got murdered. And who did that? The man that she's going to fall in love with.
Girls always go for the bad guys.
No, you're wrong.
Okay, I'm just saying. That's my prediction. What do you think is going to happen with Finn? You think that him and Rey are going to fall in love? What else?
And I think Kylo, I think he will go good.
Let's not talk about Kylo yet. I said Finn.
Well, you did say Kylo.
I said, what do you think happens with Finn?
I think I think he's not going to be in that coma for the whole movie.
Obviously not. We see him fighting with Phasma.
Well, yeah, but I think he's going to get out, and I think he's going to go like some undercover stuff.
Like I said, he's going to infiltrate the First Order.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Phasma was one of the bigger disappointments from The Force Awakens. And look, she looks awesome, and she's an awesome actress.
Boba Fett's way better.
But her role was very small, and she gave up very easily when she was confronted by Finn and Han during that final battle. She's like, okay, I'll take down the shields, right? I think she turns that around this movie. We know that she has the big battle with Finn. I think they both survive. I don't think either one dies. And my prediction is that she becomes one of the two main bad guys going into episode 9.
That's too far.
I think the main two are going to be Snoke and Kylo Ren.
Maybe, but right now you've got 4 between Snoke, Kylo Ren, Phasma, and General Hux. I think General Hux dies in this movie.
Oh yeah, General Hux. I forgot about Weasley.
I think he dies in this movie, and I think Phasma takes a bigger role and becomes the number 2 bad guy, and I'll explain why when I get to my number 1. But I think Phasma becomes the number 2 bad guy. You got anything else? You were going to say something about Phasma earlier, and I told you to save it. What is it? When I said, hey, any other small characters, and you're like, Phasma. I was like, well, save that, because that's my next one.
We explained it all. I thought she was going to be a way bigger character.
Oh, okay.
But I do wish... I miss Boba so bad. He's so cool. I just want a movie.
What if they see each other?
All right, well, let's move on then to...
Number 1.
Number 1, I have Rey and Kylo combined into number 1 because I can't really talk about one without the other. It makes sense that we talk about them at the same time. And I'll get us started. And I'm sure you guys, you have to have something about them on your list. So
I do have something about Rey, yes.
Let's start,
and Kylo.
Let's start with Rey. There's been some speculation. I don't know if you guys have heard any of this, but there's been some speculation that she goes dark in this movie. Now, I don't think that's going to happen.
Neither of your theories are going to happen.
This is not my theory.
Well, neither of those two theories, your theory and this theory, is going to happen.
So you think she stays on the light side, Kate? What do you think?
I think she goes dark.
She's definitely in the light because
she won't go dark, but she'll have some sort of relation, love or no love, with Kylo or something like that.
Yeah,
Rilo can.
Maybe
they're calling them Raylo. All the people that are shipping them, and there's a lot of people shipping them.
Okay,
first, wait, Ron.
I don't get it.
Han Solo and Rey.
Rey is gonna what were we talking about again?
Going dark or not?
Oh, Rey's gonna go light for sure because Luke was trained by Yoda, and Yoda was saying, "Don't let the darkness consume you," and all that. And Luke is now probably really wise, and he had a great master like Yoda, and he's going to give that same advice to Rey. He's going to train her. And
I think she stays light also, but I think that because she came across as very pure in The Force Awakens, and I think this is going to be a much darker movie, and it's going to test her and push her to her limits. And I think that at the end of The Last Jedi, there will be some ambiguity about the state of Rey and her lightness or darkness. I think we're not going to know for sure at the end of the movie which way she's going, and because of what she goes through in this movie. Kylo, on the other hand, I think goes even darker in The Last Jedi than he was in The Force Awakens.
I disagree. I think he's going to go to the good side.
Yeah, that would be the feel good story, but I don't think that happens in this movie. We know he's being pulled towards the light. He says as much in the trailer, or not in the trailer, in The Force Awakens. He says
he puts his hand out, like to Rey.
Yeah, we know he puts his hand out to Rey. She appears to be asking for him to help her find her place in all this, and he reaches out his hand. But I think that's misdirection. I do. I think my prediction is that Kylo becomes the darkest form of himself and also decides to kill Snoke in this movie. And I think he does kill Snoke. And I think he asks Rey to help him, and she does it because she knows that Snoke is the bad guy, and she's frustrated that Luke isn't training her or accepting her.
He's going to kill him in his sleep.
Yeah,
that actually is not that bad.
And so I think Kylo kills Snoke. He takes over as the big boss. And I think people will come out of this movie loving Kylo Ren after being somewhat disappointed with him in The Force Awakens.
I love Kylo Ren. He's cool.
A lot of people were disappointed with him. Because he looked like he was going to be so intriguing and so cool, and he was kind of whiny instead and like a teenager. I think it's part of his character development, and a lot of people are short-sighted and can't see that. They're like, Kylo Ren's not nearly as cool as Darth Vader. Well,
Well, no one's going to be cool as Darth Vader.
You can't make him cooler than Darth Vader because then that diminishes what Darth Vader meant to the story, right? Mm-hmm. But I think he's got an arc to follow, and I think he goes way dark in this movie.
So what do you think happened to his helmet? Vader's helmet? You think it blew up?
No, that was Kylo Ren's helmet.
He smashed his own helmet. It wasn't Vader's helmet. Are you talking about the scene in the trailer where he smashes the helmet?
No.
Oh.
Like he's just in The Force Awakens when he has his
No,
helmet.
nothing's going to happen to Vader's helmet. That's Vader's helmet.
I don't know. I think he still has it probably. I don't know. But we see him smashing his own helmet, and I think that's frustration with Snoke, and I think he goes and kills Snoke.
He gets mad a lot. He's got anger issues.
Yes, he does.
They even mock it in some games where he get a little emo, where your guy he gets mad at something and then he starts rationing things around.
It's in Family Guy too.
So
I remember that. He pulls out a lightsaber.
So I already said I think there might be a Rey and Kylo romance.
This so fake.
Is of course only if they're not related. And speaking of that, I think we will find out Rey's lineage in this movie.
Yes, that's my number one. I want to talk about that.
Rey wouldn't do.
All right, Jet. Who do you think Rey's parents are?
Easily Rey Kenobi.
Okay. My best guess is that she's a Kenobi too, maybe a granddaughter.
Because there's many reasons I can name, like, right now.
Well, let's start out with that Kenobi. We know Kenobi had a thing with Satine from the Clone Wars, right? The Mandalorian. Because the Jedi Code is you're not allowed to have attachments or get married or any of this. But we do know that he had some attachment to her and then left it behind. So they could have had a baby, and that baby could have had a baby, and that baby could have been Rey.
Yeah, like, I think it's Kenobi because... When you remember when Maz Kanata, when she finds that lightsaber and she touches it, like, she sees all that stuff, there's a voice and you hear Rey. You hear, like, a Rey for a split second.
It's Kenobi's voice.
Yeah.
You also hear Qui-Gon's voice in that vision, too, though.
But it's not going to be Qui-Gon.
I know. I'm just saying you can't say it's Kenobi because you also hear Qui-Gon's voice.
Yes, but that's definitely Kenobi's voice, the part I'm talking about.
Okay, I'm just saying that's not enough evidence to say that it is Kenobi since you also hear Qui-Gon's voice.
Well, I'm not... I think it is. I can't prove it. I don't know.
You're not understanding what I'm saying. It is Kenobi's voice. You also hear Qui-Gon's voice. You can't say that Rey is Kenobi's granddaughter just because you hear Kenobi's voice, because you also hear Qui-Gon's voice.
I know.
Okay. I think her accent is Kenobian. Right? She talks British like Kenobi. She has a British accent like Kenobi. Her demeanor, her attitude is much more Kenobi than it is Skywalker. She's calm and collected. She's not rash and full of attitude, like the Skywalkers are, right?
Yeah.
And the thing is, the episodic saga, movies 1 through 6, have always been centered around a Skywalker, but perhaps that lineage just carried on through Kylo. He's half Skywalker, even though his last name is Solo.
Yeah, he is.
That could mean that this trilogy centered around Kylo and Rey, still has a Skywalker at the center with Kylo, even if Rey is not a Skywalker. So, I don't know.
I think it's Obi-Wan because for two other reasons. When in A New Hope, when Obi-Wan's climbing, you remember when he has to, I don't know what they're called, but he has to like lower that power thing when he's climbing around. Yeah,
on the Death Star.
And he's hiding from those stormtroopers. And you also see Rey doing the same thing, climbing around the Starkiller base.
Yeah.
And you can think that's just one reason, but also when she's fighting Kylo Ren in that snowy place, it plays the same theme song of when Obi-Wan not killed, but cut in half Darth Maul.
It played what's the name of this song? Duel of the Fates?
No, when the theme song where he cuts him in half, not Duel of the Fates at the end.
Interesting. I'll have to see this because I'm pretty sure it's playing Duel of the Fates that whole fight.
It's not okay. Whatever. Say what you want.
Don't get mad. Jeez, I just think that it plays Duel of the Fates during that time. So
It doesn't.
All right. I don't know. Have you heard the theory that she might be a Palpatine?
I have heard that theory.
That would be interesting too. I don't know. I'm anxious to find out. I mean, she could be like Snoke is Snoke. She could be Rey is Rey. But I think that they've withheld her last name on purpose because the reveal is coming.
She does attack like Palpatine though.
She could be Kylo's sister, right? We don't know. I mean, it would be kind of weird because
you think they're in love.
No, because Han didn't acknowledge that at all, except he did kind of show her favoritism, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see, but I really don't have a good guess. My best guess is that she's a Kenobi also, but we'll see. All right. Lastly, about Kylo and Rey, I think we'll find out who put Rey on Jakku and left her there with Unkar Plot, the ugly looking portions guy from The Force Awakens. And I think it was either Luke or Kylo, maybe Snoke / Kylo. Luke, maybe to hide away all the surviving potential Force users after the Academy was destroyed and he went into exile. So he hid her thinking she'll be safe there. Or Snoke or Kylo for some other reason, but to hide her from Luke. Because I always think back to that line from Kylo in The Force Awakens when he goes crazy after hearing about some girl.
Anything else?
The two were accompanied by a girl.
What girl?
What girl? He knows to me that implies he knows there's some girl on Jakku that's important, right? Either he put her there or Snoke put her there.
How can he put her there? They're like the same age.
He's older.
A little bit.
Old enough to drop her off on a planet. That's my guess. Maybe Snoke did it and he told Kylo about it, but he knows who she is. He wouldn't freak out like that if it was just some random person.
Yeah.
Like there's a reason he reacted that way.
Yeah, but I do not think he put her there.
Okay, who do you think put her there?
Probably Snoke.
Obi-Wan?
Obi-Wan? No, Obi-Wan's dead.
Never mind. This makes sense.
Yeah. So I think we'll find out who put her there.
Maybe Snoke knew that she was, powerful in the Force or something.
Well, and Luke says some line in the trailer, I haven't seen this much raw power since, and then he doesn't finish his sentence. And it kind of implies that he's talking about Rey, but who is the last person that showed that raw power? Was it Kylo when he destroyed the Academy? Was it something else? Who is he talking about? Was it Vader? I mean, who knows? Who knows what he's talking about there? But I think that she's special in some way, and the person who hid her there, whether it was Luke or Kylo or Snoke or whatever, put her there for a reason. We should find out what that is and why she was left on that planet by herself. Right?
Sure.
Do you have anything else on Rey or Kylo, Jet?
No.
Okay.
The lightsaber's cool.
The lightsaber's cool.
What if when they fall in love and they have another
not gonna
amazing
fall in
love scene like in Attack of the Clones and the prequels?
I hate sand. It's coarse and it gets everywhere. Blah.
Yeah, if they have another one of those, maybe he can tune her lightsaber to have like point outwards, like have 3 little blades.
Oh yeah.
I was happy that he put that to use in the movie.
That was cool because
It wasn't just
when he was
aesthetic.
fighting, he actually used it.
It's
Yeah.
like
Your worst theory is definitely that Rey and Kylo Ren are going to fall in love.
Okay.
It's
I
not
think they
going to
are.
happen.
Oh, tell me the theories that are on your list that we didn't talk about, Jet.
I have Porg is going to be like huge in the movie, like really big.
I don't think so.
is he gonna be like
What do you?
big as in like role or big as in like actual like physically big?
No, they're
big?
small. We've seen them. They're
Very
like.
small.
But what can they do besides be cute?
Well, Ewoks were huge, and they were cute.
True.
That one
That's
ate
true.
one. That was crazy.
Yeah. He was
Iconic.
eating one of his own. I had an honorable mention that involved porgs. I think that Chewbacca eats a porg.
I don't think so.
I want him to.
I really think he does. There is a screen capture from the not the trailer, but that behind the scenes trailer they released several months ago that has Chewbacca in a cockpit of what looks like an X-wing, and he's got a white feather in his mouth. It's like sticking out of his mouth.
I don't want him to eat the Porg.
I want him to eat one porg.
I want a creature like that to be a big character. I want like that Porg to kind of be like how Han was to Chewie, but like as a pet.
My
I
best
want to
guess.
see Chewie try to eat one like throughout the whole movie, and Rey keeps like stopping him, and then like at the end he like finally captures one, and, like acts like it, and then Rey's like, "Drop it!"
Well, you know what Chewie thinks with his stomach. Han says this before. Always thinking with your stomach. My best guess on the Porg is that they're really just there to be cute and to maybe provide some comic relief, give you a reason to laugh at some point, because I think this is going to be a very dark
Emotional movie.
dark and emotional, and the Porgs will be a little bit of light comic relief. That's my guess. All right, Jet, what else did you have?
I have spirits like Yoda,
I had that as an honorable mention. Will we see any Force ghosts? Maybe Luke communing with them.
Obi-Wan.
Qui-Gon, Obi-Wan, Luke, Anakin are all potential ghosts that he could be communing with. We saw 0 Force ghosts in The Force Awakens. So, prediction, maybe we'll see one in The Last Jedi.
Revan.
Jet, what else did you have?
I think that might be it. I think we named the other.
My last honorable mention was that it was recently announced that Rian Johnson, the director of The Last Jedi, has been gifted I don't know if gifted is the right word, contracted for a new trilogy of movies with Disney and Lucasfilm. That they will be Star Wars movies, but we don't know when they are based, what point in time. We don't know what characters will be involved. All we know is that it won't be the characters that are in any of the other movies. So it's like a blank canvas in the Star Wars universe. He's going to have a trilogy. I think that my prediction is that we might get some aspects of that trilogy based on what happens in this movie, since he's directing this movie, and we're taking the Force in some new direction with Luke and with Rey, and I think that will be an indication of what we might get to see in his new trilogy that is coming out down the road. That's my last one.
Is this your favorite trailer of the year?
Well, yeah. Well, I don't really care about any other trailers, for sure. Oh, I forgot to play the...
Honorable mention.
But that's what those were. All right, Jet. What did you have for...
The worst.
It was really hard. I have 2 worst. The one that you just have a theory that's not going to be true is Reylo.
Man, you were really stuck on that. Okay, what else?
That's a
I
terrible
think they'd be
theory.
a cute couple.
It's so bad.
Okay, what else?
And I have, like, I know Finn's going to be in the movie, but, like, much less of him.
Okay. I had R2 dies as my worst, but
Yeah.
that's not my
He's
real
just going to
worst.
get fixed.
Here's my real worst. Let me just say this. It's an amazing time to be a Star Wars fan. Star Wars is back on the big screen in a big way. The Force Awakens was a colossal success, both critically acclaimed, the most successful movie in U.S. box office history. It almost made $1 billion in the United States alone. And we have more coming. We have The Last Jedi. We have Episode 9. We had Rogue One. We've got the Han Solo movie. We've got this new trilogy that Rian
Did
Johnson...
you just say Rogue One?
Yeah, we had Rogue One last year.
Oh,
and
I thought you said something else.
And it's just an amazing time to be a Star Wars fan. I'm so glad that you guys are like at this age when new movies are coming out. You get to experience this. It's amazing. And I love our fan base because we're passionate and we love to talk about Star Wars and we love to speculate and we love to share in our fandom. But I'm also often embarrassed by our fan base because we nitpick everything. We complain about everything all the time. And I'm not saying every fan. You guys aren't like that. I don't feel I'm like
other
that.
Stupid people.
But there are so many bandwagon fans hopping on the prequel hate train, now hopping on the TFA, Force Awakens hate train, and it drives me crazy. These people that are complaining that TFA, The Force Awakens, is too much like A New Hope and it lacked George Lucas's touch are the same people that complained about George Lucas ruining the prequels.
I freaking said before, when we had the prequels, they were like, we want movies like A New Hope and like, you know,
like the original trilogy, yeah.
And then they gave them that, and they're like, that's too much.
Yeah, and
like
it's not George Lucas and blah, blah, blah. I know, and
beggars don't choose.
And that has nothing to do with what we're talking about. And I just have some advice for those people. Just try to reconnect with Star Wars like you did when you were first introduced to it, when you were a kid. You don't have to love every aspect of every movie, but it's all part of the same mythology. And both J.J. Abrams and Rian Johnson have done an amazing job finding the feel of Star Wars, which is so hard to define, but you know it when you see it. It is a Star Wars movie. Rogue One, to me, lacked that a little bit. Rogue One was an action movie that was in the Star Wars universe. All of the other Star Wars movies their genre is Star Wars. It's not sci-fi. It's not fantasy. It's not, you can't pick a category for it. And tons of other movies have tried to emulate what Star Wars has done, and they might be in the Star Wars genre, but it's its own genre. Rogue One was an action movie in the Star Wars universe. A little different to me. I still loved it, but it didn't have that feel. Rian Johnson and J.J. Abrams have done that.
I like J.J. Abrams a lot. So
let's not nitpick. Let's be accepting of new characters. Let's realize it's time to move on from the original characters if Star Wars is going to stay alive and vibrant. Yes, Han Solo died, and yes, he was a beloved character by all of us, but even Harrison Ford knew that character had run its course. A long time ago, he knew that. So let's be, as a fan base, accepting of this new stuff. Let's not hate on every little thing. Let's not dump all over the trailers when they come out and have all these negative comments on there. It's embarrassing. We're better than this. As a fan base, we are better than this. So that's me. I'm getting off my soapbox. My prediction, and it's my worst because I know it's going to happen. People will complain about this movie. It's inevitable. But I'm not going to let that dampen my excitement and my enthusiasm as a fan.
I'm pretty sure Star Wars has like the biggest fan base for anything.
Yeah.
Like, name one thing that has a bigger fan base.
You could argue Harry Potter, but I think Star Wars is bigger.
The only thing that competes is Christianity.
We're talking pop culture here, not religion.
Christianity.
Anyway, that's it for my worst, and I'll stop. I'll get off my soapbox.
You said that 3 times.
Said it twice. Jed, anything else to add? All right, let's go to
Listener Choices.
I asked Facebook, what is the best new character from The Force Awakens?
I've seen this. I didn't look at the comments.
All right, let's start with number 5. It was a tie between Kylo Ren and Maz Kanata. Number 4, Captain Phasma. Number 3 was Finn.
Yeah.
Number 2, Rey.
Number 1 gonna be
Number 1,
Snoke.
BB-8 was the best new character from
He's
The Force
not
Awakens.
the best new
He's
character.
lame compared to R2-D2.
I know, R2's way better.
R2-D2 is not in this poll because he's not a new
I know,
character.
I'm just saying BB-8 in general.
One person said Kanji Club, which I thought was funny. So that's the Kanji Club. We also had one vote for FN2199, who is the Traitor Trooper,
That guy's awesome.
which I thought that was cool too. That was from Justin Philhauer. He's been very active on our Star Wars posts, so thank you for that, Justin. We appreciate your feedback. and
Just
your
to say,
participation.
Finn is not that skilled with a lightsaber.
Well, he's not supposed to be. He was trained to fight against Force users, but not to be one.
Yeah, but he did not. He
I
got
thought-
owned
I
by
don't-
FN.
Oh, by FN2187. I thought he did well though against Kylo. I mean,
He did do well, but he did not. See, that doesn't make sense. He did well against Kylo, but he lost to FN2187.
well, things happen.
Well, maybe because he was more amped up and really mad.
Could be.
Ray just got launched.
Well, we are almost there, guys. It is a week from tomorrow is when the movie comes out, and we will be waiting in line. Super excited for 7 hours. Super excited to watch this movie, and we'll see it several times. And I imagine our next episode, we'll just jump the gun here. We'll probably bump Holiday Foods again, and the next episode will be Last Jedi reaction show. This episode that we're recording now is going to come out on Monday the 11th. We're seeing the movie on the 14th. We'll have another reaction show probably the following Monday.
We should record it in the theater.
We're gonna have some recordings there, not while the movie's playing, but leading up to and things we thought like right before and right after, and then we'll come back and put it all together and talk about this some more. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you to everybody for taking the time to listen. Please check out our Facebook page at facebook.com/5to1podcast or tweet us at 5to1podcast. We also have an Instagram account with the same handle, 5to1podcast. Take the time to give us a review on iTunes, please. It helps us gain exposure. And we also have a phone number that nobody ever calls. It's 469-607-5to1. That's 469-607-5861. Hey, Jet.
No.
Please join us next time on 5to1 for our discussion on
Top 5 The Last Jedi reactions.
Yeah, good job.
You can love you.